Hey, what's up? I'm back because I have another topic I wanted to address and do. So, I was on YouTube earlier today, and of course, I know y'all probably seen it on Twitter. It was trending about Dominicans, Hispanics, Latinos, Latinas, and things like that having issues with black people and with being classified as black. Then I seen on Instagram it was a video of some Dominicans and Dykeman, I think they said, harassing black people. And this is just a reoccurring conversation that has happened for years and years about them wanting to disassociate from their blackness and them claiming that they aren't black, don't have any black in them, and things of that sort. And people largely say it's due to ignorance, to self-hate, and things like that. And I wanted to just come and address some things about it. Well, we know that these people from those particular tribes largely, for the most part, are racist against blacks. They subscribe to white supremacy ideology, and they do not acknowledge their black roots. So, when the African slave trade happened, different islands and countries, continents that they were dropped off on, and over there in Haiti, over there in the Dominican Republic, over there in Mexico, they had made stops there of African people. And we all know what came with slavery, right? Rape. It wasn't just murder and hard labor and all that. They raped the women. They split up families. They would sell the children, the mothers, the fathers, and things like that to remove the lineage of them and passing down history and all that. Because you remember, they wouldn't even for a long time let them speak in their own tongue. At least here in the States, they did not allow them to speak in their native tongue. Well, us. I'm saying them as in past tense, our ancestors. But us, they didn't allow us to speak in our native tongue here in the United States and things like that. But they try to disconnect the bloodlines. But through rape, right? It was first African, but through rape, there's a lot of mixed breeds, and they somewhat made their own ethnicity through these mixed breeds. Well, what a lot of these Hispanic or Latino people have done is they accept the blood that is in them from the rape, but they don't want to accept, acknowledge, and even will whitewash the blood that is in them from the African, which was the first blood that they were, what they originally were. And a lot of people say, okay, well, they have self-hate. They have self-hate. Some people say they're just ignorant and dumb because they don't understand that being Spanish and stuff like that is not that's the language that they speak. It's not their ethnicity, or that's their Dominican is their nationality, because that's a continent that they're on, the land that they're on, but not their ethnicity, and that they are ignorant and confusing the two. And I'm going to tell you like this. They're not ignorant. Maybe if you are, they're ignorant in the sense that they rather claim their grandmother's rapist bloodline over their actual grandmother. But they're ignorant in that sense, but they know what's going on. Look, they want to disassociate from their blackness, and I'm about to tell you why. Because number one, they look at the aspect of the slavery as a stain, as shame. They do not want to be connected to slavery. They feel that is something to look down upon. So they rather connect themselves to their oppressor, because their oppressor was the conqueror, basically. I guess it's a concept to them of, well, the conqueror, the oppressor, my grandmother's rapist, that was the person who was in charge, who had the power. I want to be attached to power, not slavery, not defeat. So I don't want to connect to the African. And then I think when you even get past that, because I don't know why they don't realize, even after the mixed breeding, they were still slaves, as this new tribe of people, ethnic group that was created from it. They were still slaves, but so you still connected to slavery, whether you deny the African part of it or not. You were still slaves. You still treated like shit. But anyway, then when you get past that, due to the plight of how the media has spun this narrative of blacks being less than, and then also politically, economically, and educationally treating us less than, they still feel it's a tarnish on blackness. So they don't want to be associated with that. They rather say, okay, no, I'm not black. That's over there. This is me over here. And they whitewash, which they're not the only ones who have whitewashed their race. You had a lot of blacks in the South who are whitewashing their race. And if you don't know what whitewashing is when a group of people procreate out of their race. Then they teach their kids to marry and procreate out of their race, and they keep that cycle going until it's hard to find any of the blackness, the melanin in their bloodline, and they whitewash. They will breed out the ethnic part of whatever they are. And Dominicans, hey, Mexicans and stuff, they're not the only ones who have done this. There's other races. Asians are whitewashing the hell out of their race too. They're actually bleaching their skin. Believe it or not, if you went to Asia, because what the media, people who are in control of the media, that's what they're going to do. They're going to show you and give you a view and picture of the world that they want you to see. Even Asians, from Chinese people aren't that light. They weren't that light. And if you went there now, you would still see a whole bunch of very dark Asians, dark Indians, dark Arabs, dark Mexicans, all of that. But they would whitewash their ways, and then later, of course, they made the skin bleaching or whatever. But they began to whitewash their race. And what white people did, due to the fact of wanting numbers, because white people actually are the minority, they're not actually a majority. If you went and traveled around the world, pretty much the whole world is brown. But anyway, or should I just say black? The whole world is black. It's not white, but they show you the whitewash people from these different places. That's what's going to be on the advertisements. That's what's going to be on the TV and all that. You go look at Telemundo, that's not a real representation of what it looks like there. But so they will breed out their races. And of course, we know when they went and settled in these brown places, black people's land, or should I say, and took them there, they would mate and procreate and make these mixed breeds. And then they would make a caste system to put those mixed breeds a bit higher. Even though they all were slaves, they hated them all, but they would put them a little bit higher and make them house Negroes, basically. And the rest, no, they wouldn't. So white people, to fudge the numbers, they began to say, okay, here, we're gonna, if you're Arab and you come here, you can classify as white, right? The white Arabs, white Mexican, they have these terms where white. And white people, for the most part, would somewhat let them share in the advantages and the privilege that comes with whiteness and their system that they created, right? You come share in, give us numbers, help us continue to oppress, we'll give you a piece of the pie. That's what they've always done. But then we see what white people do. They turn around and turn on them. They turned on the Mexicans, build the wall, deporting. They turned on the Arabs on 9/11. We pulling your white card and your white privilege we was giving you. They turn on these races, Asians, Koreans. They turned on them. These other races kiss the hell out of their ass. They whitewash their races. They subscribe to white supremacy, and then they delve out and use white supremacy to hate blacks because they feel, well, that gets me closer to being white. I'm choosing white side, and I'd rather be that than whatever they actually are. It's a lot of self-hating people out here. It ain't just black people who self-hate. It ain't just Dominicans, Haitians, or these other races that self-hate. It's Arab, Chinese, they self-hate. It's a lot of self-hate going around of people wanting to align themselves with whiteness, because they even train Asians to whitewash their race. Go and you marry a white person, then we gonna have our mixed breed of this white and Asian child, but then that child gonna go and marry a white person too and procreate, and now we're pretty much white. That's what they do. So I think that, to get back to my original point, these Hispanics and Dominicans do not want to associate themselves back then with their blackness because they look at it as a tarnish, a stain, something to be ashamed of, and they don't want to associate with it now because the same thing. They don't want to, number one, fall under the oppression. They don't want to fall under the racism. They don't want to have to be treated like that, have to fight against that, right? Instead of saying, here, no, I'm going to stand with them, we're going to work together and we're going to fight against this racist white supremacy system, they say, no, I'm going to whitewash that out, deny you, and try and be in good with them. And it always fails. How do you think blacks even ended up in slavery? Being too trusting and loving and kind, and then got stabbed in the back. Where these other races, though, that's not their situation. Their situation is they know and see exactly what's going on, but they don't want to fight against it. They want to be included in it, just on the upper side of it, right? They're not against racism or white supremacy. They all just want to be the beneficiaries of it along with white people, that's the sad part. That's the tragedy right there. That's the tragedy. So, oh, it was another point that I wanted to make. Oh, right. But have you noticed that Hispanics and these Dominicans and Mexicans stuff, now if we do something that they feel is to be proud of, or if we are someone who they feel we should be proud of and stuff, then they want to share in. Now, yes, I got black in me, yeah, my black roots, my African, all this, but that only lasts for a moment, and that's how you know what it is. Like I told you, it has to deal with shame and how they feel. It tarnishes who they are and gives them a feeling of inferiority to them. Blackness is inferior to them, unless you do something that they feel is great and to be good. Like, watch, when black people go back to our reign and our reign of glory, all of them gonna be black. Oh, we was black the whole time. You're gonna see a lot of them come out like, oh no, I'm black, I've been black, I always been. They gonna switch sides because they just groupies. They groupies. It's that simple. They grouping on white people right now because they want to align themselves with what they consider to be success, something to be proud of. And that's why they will fight you tooth and nail and say, no, I'm not black. Don't call me that. That's not who I am. That's not